My name is Myklusch, and I'm here to introduce my new series, Order of the Majestic. Funny story about this book. I did not plan to write it at all. I actually had another idea, but then out of nowhere, Order of the Majestic, the idea for that just took over and pushed its way to the front of the line. So let's start there, because that's usually the first question I get whenever I talk about my books. Other questions I get are, who are you? And how did you get in here? But after that, the question is usually, how do you come up with this stuff? Where do you get your ideas? With Order of the Majestic, the spark and the story came together all at once. And maybe that's why the idea had such a hold over me that I had to write it right away. It started with a magic set. My wife had brought it home for our two kids who were 5 and 3 at the time. And those of you who are parents know that when you buy a toy like this, with 150 tricks and probably 300 pieces for a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, you've bought yourself a big project. My older son and I were going through these magic tricks, and we came to one trick that presented the illusion of twisting your hand all the way around on your wrist in a full 360 degrees. And I said to my son, "Jack, give me your hand. I'm going to show you how to turn it all the way around." And he clutched his wrist, and he pulled back from me, and he gave me a look that said, "Get away from me, old man." He did not want me going anywhere near his wrist. And just like that, it hit me. He thinks this is real. Of course he does. When you're a kid, that kind of thinking is possible. At one point in our lives, I bet everybody watching this video believed in magic. But then we get older and we lose that. And I thought, wouldn't it be great if we could hold on to that belief in the impossible? I started thinking about famous magicians throughout history. And when you do that, what's the first name that comes to mind? Houdini. Who else? I bet if I could talk to everybody watching this video, you would all say Harry Houdini. You wouldn't say anybody from today, you'd say Houdini. He died almost 100 years ago, and he's still the first name in magic. And that tells me that there really aren't any famous magicians left in the world. Don't get me wrong, there are celebrity magicians, but nothing on the scale of Houdini. At the peak of his powers, he was the most famous person on the planet. Because night after night, show after show, he did the impossible. And he did it so well that people of all ages, young and old, had to ask themselves, does this guy really have magic powers? Is magic real? I thought about some of the places Houdini might have performed back in the day. Grand palatial theaters. The grim and gritty reality is not as much fun to think about. These places are falling apart. A lot of times when I scroll through the news, I think the world at large is not doing much better. This is what a world without magic looks like. And it's going to take a miracle to save it and keep it alive. But we don't get a miracle in this story. We get Joey Kopecki of Hoboken, New Jersey. Joey is a 13-year-old daydreamer and low-key genius. And what I mean by that is he's smart, but he's kind of a slacker. He does well in school without ever really trying, and he can't really be bothered to invest his energy in something that doesn't really capture his interest. As for what does capture his interest, well, he's an expert on Harry Potter, the Avengers, and all things Star Wars. Joey has a big imagination, the kind of brain that finds possibilities where other people find limits. And that's why, when Joey comes across a very old and very special magic set, he makes a shocking discovery. Magic is real, but only if you believe in it. And only if you have a bona fide magical object, like a wand, or an amulet, or a magical box, something left over from the lost age of magic, back when magic was everywhere. There's not many items like this left in the world, but they're out there. And if you can find one, and you have that belief in your heart that magic is real, you too can work real magic. And Joey gets that chance. He gets to work with a real magician, with real magic. Redondo the Magnificent is a once great and now washed up celebrity magician. He used to be a big deal. He was huge in the 80s. And no one really knows exactly what derailed Redondo's career, but rumor has it that he got his last assistant killed. So these are the kind of rumors that are very troubling to a person who is angling to be the new assistant, someone like Joey. But whether that's true or not, what we know for a fact is that Redondo has spent the last 20 years hiding out in the rundown and ruined Majestic Theater, not doing his job. You see, Redondo's job, his real job, went beyond performing on stage. Redondo was once the leader of a secret society of magicians called the Order of the Majestic. a group that dates back to the age of Merlin. By the way, Harry Houdini once led the Order as well. The Order's mission is to ensure that the world remains a magical place, to keep magic alive. Their guiding principle is that everybody deserves magic, so they share it with the world. They go around hiding magic in plain sight, inspiring wonder in people, lighting a fire inside of them to go out and make their own brand of magic. It might be art, it might be music, it might be writing, it might be science, it might be simple acts of kindness. And they also exist to combat the influence of dark magic whenever it rears its ugly head. There are magicians who abuse magic and use it to take whatever they want. These are the Order's rivals in the invisible hand. The last thing they want is to share magic with the world. They want to keep it for themselves. They've been around forever too, and they've been rounding up all the magical items they can find and consolidating power. For the last 20 years, while Redondo's been hiding out in the Majestic Theater, there's been nobody to oppose them, and the world has gotten to be a much darker place during that time. Today, the Invisible Hand is about to seize total control over the world's dwindling supply of magic, and that will be the last that people like you or I ever see of it. This is the conflict that Joey gets wrapped up in. Joey's discovery of magic and his encounter with Redondo put him on the Invisible Hand's radar. And this guy, right off the bat, this guy is all over him. You see, this mystery man, Redondo has something he wants, and he doesn't care who he has to hurt to get it. He tells Joey that if he's smart, he won't get in the way. But a daydreamer like Joey, a kid obsessed with Harry Potter and magic, he can't stay away any more than I could. And so the age-old battle for control of magic itself has reached a tipping point. In order for Redondo and the Order and the world as we know it to survive, Joey has to step up as part of a new generation of magicians and inherit the lost legacy of Harry Houdini. Will he prove himself worthy, or will the Invisible Hand strike him down? The answer will depend on Joey's ability to believe, not just in magic, but in himself.